This is Fearless Beauties, a podcast dedicated to developing voices of color in the beauty industry. We are talking to estheticians, skin specialists, and business owners to uncover best skin practices, tactical career tips, and ultimately, how we can create a better beauty industry together. I'm your host, Taylor Phillip.
And I'm your other co-host, Alyna Velez. Welcome to the latest episode of the Fearless Beauties podcast.
Welcome to episode 11, season 2 of the Fearless Beauties podcast, where we will be talking about the secrets of Korean beauty. I'm so excited.
So excited. I love Korean beauty. So many good things to talk about.
Yeah, so let's just go ahead and dive in, Alyna. What I thought we would first discuss is kind of the hype around months being dedicated to celebrating people of color. So, for example, February, as we know, is Black History Month. November is Indigenous American Month. May is Asian American Heritage Month. And September is Hispanic Heritage Month. So I thought we would just kind of plug in this quick discussion just to kind of talk about or give our opinions on why these months even exist. Is it counterproductive? Is it productive? Etc.
Yeah. I just had a thought of what if we committed to truly honoring people of color year round? Like, along with a dedicated month, I feel like just having a world that's rooted in racial justice and equity for all, and just rooted in systems and uplifting and honoring people of color every single day. Like, what if we could do that in addition
Yeah.
to?
No, I agree. When I was thinking about it, before I even started working for Fearless Beauties, I did not know these months existed, except for Black History Month, of course, because even in school, Black History Month was like hyped up. Like
Mm,
that's what I experienced like during grade school. Everybody knew Black History Month was February. Like all the teachers celebrated, but I did not know anything about Asian American, Indigenous. Like I didn't know any of that until I started working for Fearless Beauties. And then when the question popped up for this week's podcast, I was like, you know what? That is pretty interesting. Like why I feel like America is a huge melting pot of cultures, especially living in Florida all my life.
mm,
All I see is different ethnicities and races like all around. Like I've lived around Hispanics all of my life. I think I've lived around more Hispanics than Blacks. And
mm.
so I'm used to seeing a bunch of different cultures all around me at all times.
Like you were saying, it's all hyped up for a month, and then what? And then it just kind of falls off, you know?
Yeah,
At least that's what it feels like to me.
definitely, especially in the social media world. This is my take on it because the question was, is it productive or counterproductive? And I was like thinking, I was like, well, I think it's both. So
Mm-hmm.
initially, I think it's productive for those who did not know these months existed, like me. And because there's so much hype around Asian Americans in May, etc., it motivates you to learn more about their culture. So in
Yes.
May, you're like, oh, snap, I didn't know about this. I didn't like the Asian skin, like their heritage, their background, like all of that stuff. We're going to be talking about it today, but a lot of the stuff, I'm like, I did not know Korea was like this.
Mm-hmm.
And just by doing this episode, it made me appreciate their culture a lot more. There's a social media part of it that makes it counterproductive, though, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. So if you do not acknowledge, let's say, Asian Americans on your feed in May, you're not woke and you don't appreciate their culture and significance. And if you mention it on your feed, you're just trying to be woke. So it's like a thing like, oh, you mention it, you're just trying to be woke. But if you don't mention it, like, what are you doing? You're going to get
Right.
backlash.
Right.
If you post Asian American content more than once, you're either trying to be woke or you're doing too much, especially when your normal content has nothing to do with that topic or
Right.
people of color in general. So, how do you find that balance?
Yeah. I think ultimately everything you do should come from an authentic place in your heart. And along with this, if you sincerely want to be inclusive and you want to know your friends and neighbors better, then do your research and celebrate it. But it's more about moving in that in your everyday life, I think. And I think it's
Yeah,
really cool that we've got these months to highlight and kind of center these different races and people of color, but really commit to celebrating people of color year round.
definitely.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, and I think what it is you don't have to put everything on social media just for it to be like out there. Oh, I need
Mhm.
people to know that I appreciate Asian Americans or I appreciate blacks or I appreciate Hispanics. You can do that on your own. Just like you said, like you have to hold yourself accountable, but you also have to be real and honest with
Mhm.
yourself. Like you have to want to be inclusive and include everyone and learn about different cultures. You don't
Mhm.
have to do that. You don't have to highlight it on social media, but look inside yourself and say, this is the person I want to be, and do that. Hook up with different cultures of friends, situations like that, and be about it.
And
Like,
be open-minded.
yeah,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
true.
I
It doesn't always
agree.
have to be on social media, even though I know we're in this generation of that, but not
Yeah.
everything has to be presented on Instagram and TikTok and everything.
Some of us are still old school too.
Yes, and I would say I am old school, but, my job is focused around social media, but if it wasn't, I would not be on social media. I
Balance,
just
baby, balance.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
I guess the answer is it productive or counterproductive? I would say both. You just have to find a
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed. Agreed. Well said, Taylor.
well said, Alina. You did great. So, let's go ahead and get into these Korean beauty standards.
Yes.
Cray,
Yes.
cray, cray. It's crazy. Like,
I didn't realize how much surgery went on in Korea. I think Korean women are so beautiful.
mhm.
And I mean, their
Yeah.
number one surgery is a double eyelid surgery because
Yeah.
they don't like the way their eyes look. Second is jaw reduction surgery to slim their jaw. I mean, it's like they just completely change the structure of their face.
Yeah. It it blew my mind. It's still blowing my mind because I look back at the notes today and I was like, I just didn't expect that from
I didn't
Korea.
either.
I didn't expect that. I think I was a little bit speechless when I was researching, like, "Are you serious?" And, like, how I think it was this interview that, someone did when they went to Korea, and they said basically all of the buildings are, like, right next to each other, clinics for
Mhm.
facial reconstruction, and, I'm gonna see if I can find it, but, like, how some of the names were just like
Oh, yeah, small face, magic
Mm,
nose,
yes.
Cinderella. Yeah,
Yeah, wannabe
and those are
before and after.
obviously translated to English, but
Yes. So, yeah,
yeah,
he had someone translate it. His Korean friends translated for him what the names of the buildings meant or the clinics. And they're
yeah,
right next to each other, just, like, competing. Like, you know how you see, like, racetrack across the street from Wawa? Or at
yeah.
least that's in Florida. Like, they just be competing. So,
Yeah,
that's how I picture it in Korea, like, you have multiple places you can go to get this done, and it's, like, done in their early teens,
early 20s. I mean,
early 20s?
I read something that, high school students get plastic surgery for
Yeah,
a graduation gift, and so there's so much weight put on appearance and pressure to look, quote, unquote, "good," and
mhm.
it just blows my mind.
I don't even know, like, where to begin because, like, when I see okay, so as part of the research for this episode, I did watch the first episode of the Netflix Singles Inferno, so I didn't know if you took a peek
Ooh,
at it.
I didn't. Tell me.
Okay, it was interesting. to say
Mm,
the least. So it's basically like not like Love is Blind, but it's basically like I forgot what the show is called in
like a
America.
reality
It's a reality show where all of the contestants are on this island that's I can't think of the word, but it's, away from everything.
remote. Yeah.
Remote, right? And they have to cook for themselves and all that stuff, which was not like the American show, but they're basically trying to find love, of course.
Mhm.
And the beginning where all the contestants come out, like it's this huge hype. Like they're walking down the stairs, like they built it to be like this magical situation. They're like down the
Mhm.
stairs, all the other contestants are like watching them, judging them. And while like a woman is walking down the stairs, one of the guys is like, his eyes are just like fixated on her. And then in Korean, he says, "Oh, she's very pale faced. I like that. Oh." So basically, what I'm trying to say is that everything revolves around looks.
Mhm.
Like, you barely heard anything about personality,
Mm.
and it's crazy.
Well, in Korea, it's more about I read this quote from this psychology professor, and he says, "In Korea, we don't care what you think about yourself. Other people's evaluations of you matter more."
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what it was.
And it just feels so such a box that you have to fit
Mhm.
in. And if you don't fit inside of this box of a pale face and like
What was it, like
just
a turtle face or something?
yeah, if you don't get the plastic surgery to, have the perfect nose, have the perfect looking eyes and the white face, and then you don't fit.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read the sentence based off of the show. It said that singles inferno, and I like Alyna loves to give homework, but my homework for y'all is to watch this show. It it just it brought everything together for me. But it says it's a stark reminder of the sore realities within South Korea, a society where preference for certain skin color exists and a strenuous demand is put on looks and appearance. It's a paradox that an aesthetically pleasing reality show made a new batch of international audiences aware of the flip side that exists beyond the picture perfect world of K dramas and K pop. Now, I'm not
Mm.
familiar with K dramas and K pop. I have no idea what that means, being honest. But if it's, kind of like the opposite of that, then okay. Because, like, how they said they put preferences for skin color.
Mhm.
Like, of course, we all know there is, like, a light to dark skin in
Mhm.
basically every ethnicity. Like, we see it in, like, the new Fenty Beauty, how they have, like, 40 shades. Like, there's levels to
Mhm.
this, you know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
But in South Korea, if you're more pale-faced, you're, like, better looking. If you're more brown skin, they have, like, they feel a certain way.
Well, I think for Koreans, at least, it kind of stems back, thousands of years ago when Korea was largely an agricultural society, and a lot of people were working outside under harsh circumstances and spending a lot
Yeah.
of time in the sun. And so, if you had dark skin, that means you were an agricultural worker, and that meant you were lesser of to them. And so if you have pale, whiter skin, then likely you have more money and more, I don't know, more
Yeah.
money, I guess,
Yeah. No, that
to take
that
care of your
that
skin.
makes sense. That makes sense. So that's kind of like the, history of it and, the origin, which is
Hmm.
which is why I love doing these podcasts because you learn so much about a country's past that you would have like, of course, as humans, we judge people by, like, their outer appearance, and it's kind of natural, but when you kinda deep dive or dive deep
Hmm.
into the culture and why people are like this way and kind of how it's a little bit of like unconscious, like they just kind of is it unconscious or subconscious?
Unconsciously, subconsciously.
Yeah, girl, today is a day. But how you just kind of do things, like, naturally, you don't even, like, really understand why you're doing it. It's all because
Mhm.
of the past and what their parents did and what their parents did and what their parents' parents did and all that stuff, so learning about the culture of an ethnicity is so important
I agree.
and helps you learn and it also helps you learn how to approach different cultures.
Absolutely.
Another thing that they did in the show, which I like, is every time one of the contestants came down, they did their bow to each other. You know
Mhm.
how they, and I just thought
Put
that
their
was
hands
nice.
together
Yeah.
and do their
Well, it
bow.
was actually a little bit more relaxed than that, but they just kinda, like, put their hand on their stomach and just, like, bowed, like, really quickly.
Mm.
But it's like, that's their culture, so
Mhm.
I forgot about that aspect of it because I was so focused on, like, gosh, they only care about how they look, but their culture is still rooted in there, so
Mhm.
it's kinda nice to see the balance of, I guess one of the girls, didn't really look nice on the outside, like, she had a mean look, like a
Like a
bitch face.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, um, but so they were judging her based off that, and they were like, "Oh, but when she smiles, her pale face comes out," and I was like, "What the heck?"
Mm. That's
But
interesting.
if they look back at the show, it's probably normal to them. Like, you know how the
Mhm.
reality shows, they look back at it months later when it goes live, and they're like, "I can't believe they said that about me." No, this is probably
This is
normal.
reality. Yeah, it's
Right.
reality for them. Mhm.
It's very real. So, that was a huge
Yeah.
eye opener for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that series out.
And a thing is, like, no facial hair is
Mm.
a thing, like, the younger you look, the more mature you look in a way,
Mm.
you know what I mean?
Yep,
No
I got that.
hair. Right, like, for the men, no hair whatsoever, just, like, bare. Oh, they
Mhm.
look manly, they did and I'm like, "That is so crazy because that's not how
Kinda
it
the
is here."
opposite.
Right.
Yeah, kinda the opposite for us. Kinda transitioning into, like, beauty standards and routines, I really liked how Korean beauty really takes the approach of like, hey, our bodies change every day. Like one day you might feel really
Yes.
tired and need more sleep. Well, it's the same thing for your skin changing day to day. You know, one day you might wake up and your skin looks tired and dull. You know, in regards to a routine, combining a brightening serum or, a hyaluronic acid to plump up and give a more kind of awake appearance. But I just really loved the fluid approach to skincare and not being stuck and attached to one routine, but kind of going day by day and listening to your body and your skin and what it needs. It's really cool.
Yes, I really love that as well, especially because I didn't expect that from them after
Mm-hmm.
watching because I watched the show because that was the first thing that I saw on our notes, and then I, like, started reading more about the skincare routine and things like that, and I was like, "Wow, I didn't expect for them to be so fluid," like you said, because they're kind of a culture where you need to look this way in order to be
Mm-hmm.
accepted type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was really happy to hear that but then it makes sense because they care so much about their appearance. If you kinda do like a one and done type of beauty routine and everyone follows that, some people's skin is gonna look jacked up. Like
It's true. It's
yeah,
true.
so in order to look the best, you have to understand that your body changes. You have to use certain different products. Like I believe what Mary said in a 2 podcasts ago, I believe, like, even when you live in a different environment, like I live in a
Mm-hmm.
more humid area, I can't use the same products as maybe you 2 do
Mm-hmm.
living in Oregon, so it's different.
Absolutely. So many things come into play with, skin changes and skin needs.
Mhm.
But yeah, just love that fluid approach. There's also kind of like I don't know if you would call it a stigma, but a lot of people kind of correlate K beauty with like a 15 to 20 step skincare
Yes,
routine.
I was just thinking that. And mhm.
I'm all for layering products. I don't know about 15 though.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I was into, like, makeup and stuff, I remember hearing about the seven-step Korean skincare process.
Mhm.
And I was, like, all for that. It was, like, oil cleanser, a foaming cleanser, so you double cleanse, exfoliator, toner, serum, sheet mask, eye cream.
Mhm.
And I remember that because I studied that, and I was like, "I'm gonna do that." Yeah, it's kinda nice to see that they don't really follow that.
Agreed. I think my first like introduction to Korean beauty unintentionally, but was to the Tony Moly masks in Ulta. I don't know, Taylor, if you've ever tried any of the Tony Moly masks, but so many
No.
different so many different like not flavors, but different ingredients and different choices to choose from and super affordable.
Mhm.
And just such a nice treat for your skin. So I love me some sheet masks.
I know Mary have sent me some and I've done those, but, I feel like one of the things I wanna do is take my skin more seriously. I always say
Mm,
I'm gonna do it and then I don't, because it does take time, but it also is very beneficial. It's self-care. No one wants jacked up skin, you know what I mean? So, you're gonna have to email me that so I can look it up because I did plan on going to
absolutely.
Ulta.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I think too, I'm not a mom, but you are. And I feel like it's a good like you time. And it is relaxing and a good like wind down from your work day and
Mhm.
packaging up all your stuff to send out. It's like woosah, some self
Right.
care, give yourself a little mini massage and wind
That
down.
would be great, along with the
Hmm.
bath. Are we getting I mean,
Yes.
let's go down this rabbit hole of self-care. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But it's like, yeah, I mean, skincare is self-care, and that's, definitely what Koreans think. So I like the way that they, because they even say that men take it seriously as well,
Hmm.
and they're focused on natural ingredients.
If looking young is,
I
their
know,
forte.
which I thought was it's just so and that's why I love learning about cultures because it's so different.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
now I'm like, I wanna go around and because I live in Orlando. You see I mean, of course, tourists come in, and there's a lot of Asian tourists here.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I just, like, kinda wanna, like, look carefully now and see what, their skin looks like, how they look. Do they look more younger? Because I never really paid attention. I feel like when I was in high school, like, the Asian American population was, like, 1%.
Mm,
Like, even in college, I don't even remember seeing that many Asians. So, this makes me want to pay more attention and,
yeah.
just kinda dive deep, ask some questions, I don't know. I'm sure they'll
Yeah.
be willing to answer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The K beauty products are just on the rise.
I'm sorry, but have you ever heard of the K-pop or the
Okay.
K-pops?
Isn't K pop like a genre of music?
Yeah, but have you
Okay.
have you ever listened to it?
I'm going to keep it real. I have not.
I've seen them on TikTok, like, scrolling
Okay.
through,
Uh-huh.
and they definitely, now that I've done my research, embody the Korean culture. Like, they're very not all of them are pale-faced, but they're very clean-looking men.
Mm,
No, it's a group. It's a K-pop group. Darn it. Now I'm gonna look it up. It's a K-pop
I, I
band.
I think I've heard
BTS.
of them. BTS, yep.
Yes. Like, wow. They're
Yeah.
just very clean, young-looking men when I'm probably sure they're not young at all.
Yeah.
But they have the, what I would picture in Korea based off the
Mhm.
show. I'm all basing it off the Singles Inferno show. Cause please, y'all, just watch the first episode. It's it's so interesting. I'm actually
Mm.
probably gonna watch all of it, but it's all in Korean, so you know how they do, like, the voiceovers in American or
Okay.
in English, so
Yeah.
that's interesting too, but
Yeah. When I was doing my research, it's interesting to me that when like United States beauty editors are looking for up and coming trends, guess who they draw from? Korean women or Korea in
really?
general.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that.
things like BB cream, sheet masks, and cushion compacts were a few things that were highlighted that Korea gave us.
Wow.
Natural skin brighteners like rice extracts, vitamin C, and licorice. The whole layering thing, that's a big game changer. And I feel like I might be wrong, but essences are kind of a Korean thing.
Mhm,
I had mentioned before that I had managed a cosmetic counter and I worked next to a Shiseido counter. And that was my first kind of run in with essences from that line. And it can be like a thicker, like you would wash your face, you would tone your face, and then next would be an essence. And it's
mhm.
kind of like just dousing your skin in liquid. There's many different ingredients depending on which one you get, and it's just like a big drink of water. And then you would follow with your moisturizer or serums or whatever else. But another really popular ingredient that I thought was interesting is snail mucin.
Ah, okay.
That's a really commonly used K beauty product or ingredient. And for those who don't know, snail mucin is the slime excreted by snails when they are stressed. So
If you saw my face right now, oh my gosh.
I'm gonna send you some snail mucin.
Oh my gosh.
What if you just got a couple snails in the mail for me?
Ugh, why am I like, I'm just, like, over here just itching, like, scratching. That but I mean, I'm sure it works, you know?
Yeah,
And
I won't knock it till I try it. That's for sure.
definitely. I mean, hey, if it works, it's, ooh, anyway. I don't know why the whole surgery aspect is still so shocking to me. I just woulda never I don't know, but I was reading some more and they said that, the country has the highest rate of plastic surgery per capita in the world.
In the world, I read that too.
In
Mhm.
the world, not just in South Korea, like,
Yeah,
or in Asia.
right.
It's like in, the world. So
Well, and I think, like, to put into perspective, US is at number 6 for highest rate of plastic surgery per capita, and I feel like that does surprise me because I feel
Mhm.
like now more than ever, I am seeing so much more people going under the knife.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Like, they also compared it to, like, Brazil because, Brazilian butt lifts and that whole
Yeah, the
thing.
BBLs, uh-huh.
Mhm. Yep,
That's what I'm seeing a lot more.
Korea's got them beat.
By a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it says that one-fifth between one-fifth and one-third of women in Seoul have gone under the knife, and one poll reported by the BBC puts the figure at 50% or higher for women in their 20s. I mean, like
Okay.
you said, that they kinda get that for high school graduation presents, so it's
Mhm.
not
I think we have something in common with Korea in that beauty standards and what is supposedly beautiful is is shown to us through entertainment and social media and celebrities, and
Mhm.
it's just kind of like you said, like plastered all over the walls and everywhere you look. And so yeah, it's going to start to feel like, shoot, maybe I should change my nose and my eyes and whiten my face because I look different than everybody else. Yeah, I had read that this gal went to, I think it's pronounced Seoul. I looked it up.
So, okay. I
Seal.
apologize.
No, no
Seal.
worries. I looked it up because I was like, I don't know. Anyway, she took the subway, and in the walls of the subway stations, they're plastered giant ads for plastic surgery clinics. And she went on to say many picturing twinkly cheerleader types, sometimes wearing jeweled tiaras and sleeveless party dresses. I mean, come
Mhm.
on. Who
Mhm.
walks around like that? Like it's
Yeah.
just it's unrealistic to me at least. Um, I believe everybody's idea of beauty, it is going to be different, and there is not just one idea of beauty. So to each their own. And I just believe that, the way you were born is the way, God made
Yeah.
you. And,
Same.
but if doing procedures or something is going to make you feel good about yourself, go for it. But I just feel
Right.
like if you're doing it because you want to, fit in, or you feel, some type of way, then I would come to America. Come
Right.
to no.
Yeah. You said, it said, like, one of the captions on the advertisements there says, "Everyone but you has done it." Like,
Uh-huh.
they're peer pressure. It's like
Uh-huh. Yep.
it's country pressure. Like, they're
So
basically saying
true.
you kinda have to do it
Mhm.
or you're not gonna be accepted, which is absolutely crazy in my
Mhm. Well, and who knows
opinion.
how that affects, jobs or whatever else. Like I'm sure it's more than just, walking the streets and feeling confident. I'm sure that comes into play in many different avenues of living in South Korea.
Yeah, if you wanna get married,
Mhm.
I'm sure, like, "Oh, she doesn't look a certain type of way, how could I marry her?"
Right.
Type of thing.
Right.
But that's how the show there was this one guy on the show that was darker than the he wasn't pale at all, so a lot of
Yeah.
people were talking about that, like, a lot. We're talking about his color. It still blows my mind. I think I might watch it after this because I really wanna see what more they have to say. It just kinda goes to show you that it's different. Like I mentioned, look into the culture, look into the history, look into why they do this. Sometimes it's not even a choice.
It makes me think of in America, right? I feel like people who are lighter skin, the whole self tanning, right? And wanting
Mhm.
to be tan, and like the Kardashians. I hate to bring it up, but okay. It's like, okay, you can have round hips and a big butt, but not too big. Or,
Mhm.
you can be black, but not too black. Or you can be, you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah,
like,
I definitely get it.
it's never going to be perfect.
No.
And it's so easy to go overboard with surgeries or um, appearance, how you look and things. And then,
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's never gonna be perfect. As soon as you do one surgery, there's gonna be, like, this trend or something to look different,
mm-hmm,
and then you're gonna be like, "Dang, I just got this."
mm-hmm,
So you have to do it for you. You mentioned that.
mm-hmm.
You have to love yourself.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
I remember when I was, in middle and high school, I got picked on for having a big nose. I never
Mm,
saw it. But then all of my family are from the Bahamas and they have huge noses in the Bahamas. Like I even pick at them because their noses are so huge. So when I was in middle and high school, all the boys used to pick at me because I had a large nose and I never realized it. And I was like, okay. So I would like go home and I'd be like, Mom, do I have a big nose? I was like, I always looked at my nose and I was like, geez, like
mm,
am I ever gonna grow into my nose? But you see, like, they made me feel that way. When I walked into that school, I had no idea that I had a big nose. I didn't even think about my nose. I thought I
right.
looked great. But
Mm-hmm.
it goes to show you how people's words can really affect the way you feel about yourself. So you really have to do the daily work to love yourself. Like, there's gonna be days when you think you just look a hot mess, but you have to do the internal work and say, "You
Mm,
know what? But on the inside, I'm the bomb.com." And it's just self-love, self-care, all those things we preach, but we don't practice.
Mhm.
So it's all about practicing it and really doing the work to love yourself and love what you look like. Honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we look like, but I mean, come on, let's be
Right.
honest. Let's be honest.
Yep. Yep.
So, you have to look the way you want to look.
Mhm. I agree. That's so good. So, Taylor, just to kind of piggyback off of the whole self love thing, I just want to encourage people to, if you do have that self love, which I hope you do, harbor that and spread it and share it with those around you and call people out for good things that you see them doing, or their outfit, or just the little things can go a long way to strangers, friends, and family. And I'm a person of doing all things in love, and the rest will come. So that's my 2 cents today.
No, I love that. That was great. So I think we could end the podcast. I mean, I hope y'all gained some insight into the South Korean culture and appreciate it a little bit more, or, learn something. And homework, watch Singles Inferno on Netflix. Watch just the first episode, and I think it will just change your whole perspective on South Koreans, not necessarily in a bad way, but just kind of opening your eyes and being appreciative of why they are the way they are. Okay. Thank you, Alyna. And as always, you can find us at Fearless Beauties. You can find me at Taylor Budgets. And you can find Alyna at True Skin Lab. All right, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.